What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Talking Halos. I'm your host today, Jared Timms, and I'm joined alongside my co-host, my partner in crime, Nate Green. Nate, how you doing?
Doing fantastic. How about you, buddy?
Not doing too bad. Day two of the winter meetings. Some
Told
stuff
you
happened.
there'd be a move on the first night.
Nothing ever happens on it'll so
Told you.
it is 7:30 PST as we're recording this. So if something happens during or after,
Yesterday counts.
I'm gonna give the time since you gave me shit yesterday for it. I'm gonna give the time because we didn't really talk about it. I do want to talk about it today because it has some significance towards the Angels. Obviously, a Mariners trade happened. No, and I have a valid reason why it's significant to the Angels, and you're gonna like this conversation. But before we get going, just want to say thank you all for watching and listening. Nate, we hit 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. I'm excited. That's pretty cool.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so
That's
much.
awesome.
That is very appreciated.
I know it's only 1,000. Like you look around, and, like everybody's got 1,000. Like, but it's pretty cool. I mean, we've been doing this for a while. Jumped onto YouTube, started doing it, and thank you for those who subscribe and watch us on a daily basis. Really do appreciate it. So again, thank you. Go ahead, continue to subscribe. Tell a friend about us if you like the show. Again, working on getting wow, I can't even talk right now. Working on getting interviews with some players, former players, coaches, things like that. The way we like to do it. If you missed it, we talked to Joe Adele a couple weeks ago. Had a blast doing that. So go back, revisit that if you are new to the show, as well as Zach Neto, Ben Joyce last year. So I mean, still fun interviews to go back and look on as well before they made their major league debuts. You can follow us on all our social medias, X, Instagram, and Facebook. Just look us up at Talking Halos. You can follow myself on X at Jared_Timms, Nate at Nate Green 34. And let's get it rolling here, Nate. So important things to remember as we're doing this. First off, it is 7:30 PST as we're doing this, recording this. So if we miss something, we'll get to it tomorrow. We're gonna do winter meetings every day of the week here. Tomorrow we'll have some I think some fun stuff to talk about. Draft lottery is tomorrow. We'll see where the Angels are drafting in 2024. Angels have a decent chance of being inside the top 5. They have a chance. I don't want to say it's decent, but they have a chance of being inside the top 3.
It is decent.
It's for okay. In general, it's not. It's a 6.3% chance, I believe.
But it's still decent.
For the draft lottery, it's a decent chance of being inside the top 3 as well. So you never know. And we will definitely be talking about that tomorrow. As everybody knows, we like to talk about minor leaguers, like to talk about the draft, like to talk about also the Rule 5 is on Wednesday. Rule 5 draft. That's always a fun time. We'll talk about it, break it down a little bit more tomorrow. I don't think anyone's going to get taken from the Angels. I'd be shocked if anybody was taken by the Angels as well in this. They have 39 they have 39 guys, so I guess maybe, but
I see them taking a flyer on a guy. Don't be surprised if it's a soft toss and reliever.
It'd be a reliever. It would be a reliever.
Jimmy Herget type of guy. Don't be shocked.
I would guess it would be a reliever. There are some interesting names that the Angels did not protect. Probably won't get picked, but still some interesting names we'll go over tomorrow as well. So keep that in mind for Wednesday. No news for Shohei Ohtani, and we're not even going to talk about Shohei Ohtani because nobody knows anything at this point. Earlier in the week, everybody was saying that he's going to sign during the winter meetings. Another report comes out saying that he's not signing during the winter meetings. He follows now Logan
These reporters are elite. Let me just say,
Logan Webb.
They're definitely reporting the news.
He has a sandwich named after him in San Francisco. So those are some important details that we know about Shohei Ohtani. And it seems like he's going to get paid a lot of money. Really, that's all we know right now. So no news is news at the moment for Shohei Ohtani. The Angels did make a move. Non-Shohei Ohtani, really. Do you have something else you want to talk about there?
Okay. Yeah, all you have to do is say it's not news, it's not reporting, it's speculating. Because that's all they're doing is guessing.
A lot of speculating.
I mean, we could sit here and guess all we want. I mean,
am I allowed to speculate real quick?
Should we just speculate on what TBW said to us a couple of weeks ago, where he said Shohei was going to sign roughly around this time? So we could play this game all you want. Like the reporters, like, I'm sick and tired of reporters. Just tell me when something happens. Stop speculating. That's not your job.
Taylor's 4 days away from being right, and I'm not gonna give it to him if
I'm pretty sure
he said the 8th.
just for you, I'm pretty sure he said the Friday before the winter meetings start,
I'm
which would have been 3 days ago.
not
So
giving it to
technically
him
he's
then.
already wrong, but he did
I'm
say around this
not
time.
gonna give it to him then. So
Yeah.
if I can speculate a little bit, I think two teams make the most sense in my opinion, and then a third team is gonna be in there. The two teams that make the most sense to me right now are two teams that aren't getting mentioned a lot about right now, and that's Seattle Mariners, who made a trade, and we'll talk about here shortly, and the Toronto Blue Jays. I think those two teams make the most sense to me right now with the way they're looking. They have some salary to cut. I'll say that if they think they're going to sign Shohei Ohtani. This is the way I think it's going to play out here. I think we see the Angels in it, and I think we see the Angels continue to be in it until the very end. And I think Artie's a smart businessman and knows that, when too much is too much. Granted, Shohei Ohtani brings in a whole nother revenue stream from Japan, and brings in a completely diverse set of fans. But I think Artie knows when too much is too much. And when we're talking about these figures that are getting out there, I think that too much is too much. However, I think the Angels are going to be in it until the end, and they're going to say, hey, like, we made a significant push. We made a significant offer to Shohei Ohtani. Unfortunately, we just got outbid. Just like a lot of things we've seen in the past. It's happened quite a bit. Can I throw out a couple names there? Garrett Cole is one of the names where everybody really wanted Garrett Cole, and it's like, oh, the Angels are in on Cole. They're in on Cole. They're in on Cole. Couldn't get it done. Same thing with Strasburg, by the way. I think they were in mentions. I don't think that they were really ever
I
in
don't
on
think that
Strasburg.
really ever got off the
No,
ground. I think that
I
was
don't think so
really
either.
like a Strasburg's going back
Yeah.
to Washington type of thing.
Yeah, and then obviously they go get Rendon that
Ooh,
day. Well, who's the year before? Who's the big pitcher? There was a couple years in a row where big pitchers signed. Zach Wheeler maybe might have been a name too, which was a bigger
yeah,
name, not a
Wheeler
huge name,
was
but a big
like
name.
2019, I believe.
Yeah, and it was like, the Angels are in it. The
Cole was
Angels are in it. Cole.
2020.
Yeah,
I believe Robbie Ray was 2021.
yeah.
Um,
Gosman was another name where it's like the Angels are in,
Gosman
not
was in.
really. So I'm just trying
Yeah,
to think of big names that signed in the past. I
I
guess
think
even
you
big past.
Darvish was one of those as well. Might have
Darvish,
been
yeah.
2019.
Yeah.
Um,
So big names that signed that the Angels were in on, air quote, in on, because agents like to do that. Agents do like to say certain teams that have a lot of money, and the Angels tend to be that team that likes to be in on it, likes to be in. If you're watching us on YouTube, I air quote that, likes to be in on everybody. So I think that's the way the Shohei Ohtani saga, and I air quote that too, really pans out. I don't know if you see that any differently, but it's very
I just think,
Angels-esque.
yeah, no, I think the Angels are going to be in on this. I said it yesterday that I think the Angels are trying to make this number go as high as possible,
Right.
thinking that they're not going to get him, that he's going to decide, you know what, like, the Angels didn't win enough in my 6 years. I'm going to go somewhere else. But if the Angels can drive that price up enough where the price doesn't really make sense for a team like the Dodgers, because that's the team that the Angels don't want him to go to. They would be fine. Like, obviously they're not rooting for him to sign anywhere else. But if you told the Angels that either you're signing him at 800 million or the Dodgers are signing him at like 300 million, they'd say, you know what, we'll take the 800 million. We don't want the Dodgers to have him. But if you told him like, hey, any of the other 29
I'd
teams
let
are,
him walk to the Dodgers at 800 million.
hey, I would too. But I'm just saying that, like, that's
I
just
know.
how badly the Angels don't want him in a Dodger uniform.
Yeah.
And so I think that it almost feels like, hey, let's get this number as high as we can. We're going to be in this as long as we can. Just so that way, if the Dodgers do get him, it's a stupid number that almost doesn't make sense for them to do. Don't sleep on the San Francisco Giants. They're so hungry for a superstar.
I want them to get Ohtani, just because I know that then that
Farhan
opens
has
the
missed
market. Yeah.
2 years in a row. He really missed on Aaron Judge. He really missed on Carlos Correa. He has not been good since coming to the Giants. They had that one lucky year. They made the playoffs, then took the big step back this last year. And I think a lot of people are very upset with what he's done. You got Brandon Crawford, who's gone, Buster Posey, who's gone, all these guys that are leaving and they don't have the well-named superstar. He needs to make a splash this offseason. And I think Shohei Ohtani is the guy to make the splash for him. I don't know if Shohei Ohtani goes there, though. I don't. but I think he ends up staying in the Southern California. He ends up staying on the West Coast. That's what I'm going to say. He ends up staying on the West Coast is my guess. I don't think he goes east, but what do I know?
I hope the Giants get. I hope the Giants get Shohei. Just because they seem to be favorites and on Yoshinobu Yamamoto. And as everybody knows who's been watching this, we are big fans of Yamamoto and think that's where an Angels rebuild, air quoting a lot today, starts is with getting a legitimate pitcher. So enough Shohei Ohtani talk. We have other Angels news. Kind of. They made a signing, minor league signing, bring back
Re-signing.
re-signing. Same thing. Minor league
There you go.
signing, re-signing.
Correct.
They bring back, I was going to say they bring back, don't correct me right away. Bring back Jose Marte for bullpen depth there in Salt Lake. We got the mid to upper 90s fastball. Good fastball, not a lot of movement, as we were talking about before. With a, you corrected me, I said slider. It is a cutter, I'll give you that, and not or a bad slider, we'll call it that, at best. So
Baseball savant says cutter.
Yes, baseball savant gives it a cutter. You have any thoughts on Jose Marte? Is this a guy that you like for depth, Nate, or is this not a good depth?
I think it makes sense for what the Angels are doing to bring him back and put him in the bullpen, but not in the bullpen, but to put him on the roster in AAA. Like, but for us to sit here and say that, oh yeah, this is a big major signing, he's going to make the roster, this and that, like it's not happening. Like let's stop making this out to be like, oh my gosh, we just signed Josh Hader. Like, no, this isn't that kind of guy. He's a up and down org piece who, if he throws well, he's got a chance, kind of like an Andrew Wantz type of guy where it's like, hey, if he throws well, he's going to stay in the bullpen as long as he can. If he doesn't throw well, then it doesn't really cost the Angels anything to get rid of him.
Yep.
He's got one pitch. That's it, which is a very average pitch at best. Yeah, he throws it kind of hard, but the spin rate isn't amazing. It's hard for me to get excited about this guy. It is. He is a very newer type of bullpen arm where it's like, hey, let's just get a guy who throws really, really hard. If he spins it, great. If he doesn't have a second pitch, it's okay because he's just going to throw so hard. And if we tell him to throw at the right angle, he's going to be tough to hit. And I'm not a big believer in that. I think you've got to be able to throw multiple pitches to be a good pitcher. And I don't know. He is, correct me if I'm wrong, he is the guy who Mike Trout was
Elvis Peguero
was saying, or was it not
Elvis,
him?
It was Elvis Peguero.
Oh, it was Peguero. That's right. Peguero was the guy.
Was the guy.
I get those two guys confused because they were actually similar type of pitchers. They both threw really, really hard and didn't know where it was going. So, but yes, so we don't really. I don't know. I'm put him in AAA bullpen. If he throws well there, then fine. He doesn't cost anything. But I'm not looking at him as he's going to be in the bullpen. He's a missing piece to this team type of thing.
I think he's a missing piece, man.
Of course you do. Anything the Angels do, you're on board.
Stop. Come on, I'm kidding. I like velocity. He throws the ball hard. I like it. Told you we'd come back to the Mariners trade that happened last night about this time. Mariners.
Something on the first night.
We weren't recording any later than this. I want to get it out on the same day.
I know, but you told me that there was no chance something.
There was. I didn't say there was no chance. I said it hasn't happened in the past as much. And you told me the one thing you told me. You want everybody here can hear our conversation here. You said Jason Worth signed 9 to 11 years ago. That was the one thing that you remembered, and not anything else that's happened.
That's a splash. That was a splash. That was not like a.
I think Garrett Cole signed on. I think Garrett Cole signed on day one of the winter meetings, man. So you could have given me Garrett Cole, and I'd have been like, "That's fair." Like
I don't think he signed on. I
think he signed on Monday. I think it was on Monday.
Yeah, I think he signed on Monday, not Tuesday.
And I think Rendon signed on Wednesday. With that being said, though, Mariners trade Jared Kalenic, Marco
Gonzalez,
and who's the third?
Evan White.
Evan White. I was trying to remember it in my head. To the Braves for newly acquired Jackson Cower and minor leaguer Cole Phillips. Big salary dump for the Mariners. They do get somewhat more interesting. I'm not a big believer in Jared Kalenic. I think he's fine. I think he had a decent year last year, overhyped prospect. Didn't like him in the draft either. I that's just my opinion. Evan White hasn't done a lot. You send him to the Braves, and then Marco Gonzalez, the Braves aren't even keeping around. So we'll see where he goes after that. Jackson Kowar goes. The one thing that worries me, and you're gonna really like this argument, the AL West is really good for how bad the Angels are. Like you have you have the defending World Series champs. Correct me if I'm wrong. The Astros won the year before and are still a very good team. And then you have the Mariners, who have made the playoffs each of the last 2 years and are a very good team. They didn't make it last year, did they? I'm sorry.
That's correct.
Yeah, they almost did though, but then they were buttercupped. But regardless, still a very good team there. And I say that the Mariners are in on Shohei Ohtani. The AL West is really good. We're not going to talk about the A's yet. Once they go to Vegas and start spending money, then it'll be a little bit different. Decent farm system there, but need to step it up a little bit. The A's are not a non-factor. Dude, it's going to be tough to win in the AL West, even with where these teams are now. And we're talking about there's a decent chance that Shohei Ohtani stays in the AL West. Like that's a scary fact. That's just scary in general to me. And I don't know how the Angels compete. Do you kind of get where I'm going with this conversation here?
No, because I don't think it's as deep as you're making it out to be. Yes, the Houston Astros are a very good team. Yes, they did just win a World Series 2 years ago. But guess what? They're getting older. They're very old. They're going to have to start
We've been saying they're getting older since 2019, and they're still going to the World Series every year, man.
Yeah, they're going to have to they're going to have to start paying guys. They're paying Verlander a lot. Framber, Bregman, Altuve is going to have to re-sign a contract. You already have Abreu on. They're paying McCullers. Like they're going to have to pay a lot of guys here soon. And Kyle Tucker is going to make a lot of money. That's not a cheap deal that those guys are signing. They're really going to have to hit on some prospects, which they've been able to do their way
every single year.
They've been able to do it their way, which was get last place and get as many draft picks as possible, which is fine. You know, kind of like Baltimore.
That was like 10 years ago when they started doing that, man. And they're still good.
It's how you build the farm system, though. Like that built the farm system for 10 years. Now you're actually having to hit on the guys you took in the last 5 years. And we know they haven't hit on the guy the last 2 years because one of them is on the New York Mets. So I don't know if this team is going to be runaway favorites for a while. They've got a new manager. They've got a new general manager. There's some different things going on in Houston. I'm not ready to crown the Houston Astros right now.
The Texas Rangers are better than the Angels still.
Okay. Right now, you almost could argue that the Oakland A's are better than the Angels right now. That's how bad the Angels roster is. But the Angels also have a lot of money to spend. So I'm not ready to crown the Houston Astros right now with where they're at to look at it and be like, oh, the Angels can't win the AL West. Let's feel bad for them. And, you know, let's give guys the benefit of the doubt for not winning because this division's hard. Like, no, just win baseball games. You got to win baseball games. Seattle's team, if the ball is hit to left field right now, there is no one there to catch it. Right? You know that.
Their mascot.
Yeah, that's who it is. Mm-hmm. If there's a ball hit to right, there is no one there to catch it unless J-Rod is going to go all the way to right or all the way to left to catch it. The roster isn't far and away the best in the American League. It's not some elite roster where you're like, oh my gosh, this team, it can't be stopped. The roster's fine. It's a good start. J-Rod's a very good player. They saved $15 million in that trade, which is huge. They were able to save some money on a huge mistake they had with Evan White, signing him before he really played a major league game. He might have played a couple of major league games when he signed, but so they're able to shed some of that salary, which is huge. But this team, like they're always going to be at a big disadvantage. Not too many free agents are signing in Seattle. You're going to travel the most in Major League Baseball, and you're gonna have to beat Texas just like everyone else. So I think Texas is the one team that you really have to worry about. They do kind of have their team set for the next 6, 7, 8, 9 years, especially up the middle, which is very, very scary. And I don't know. I'm not on board with the Seattle Houston thing. I think Seattle's a very good team, but to sit here and start to allow the Angels to feel sorry for themselves and be like, oh, it's gonna be tough for you guys to win the division. If you get fourth place, it's okay because the Mariners and the Astros are good teams, and the Rangers won a World Series. Like, no, you're spending more money than 22 teams in Major League Baseball typically. You're about seventh, eighth, ninth in payroll. Be better with the money you spend. Like, I'm not here to feel bad for the Angels. I think there's a way that this team can get good, and it starts with letting Shohei Ohtani walk.
You're putting words into my mouth. I didn't say I feel bad for the Angels. I just said the AL West is really good.
We'll feel bad for him. Don't worry.
I'll let other people feel bad for him. I don't feel bad. I don't feel bad for him. We've been doing this for how long? And it just constantly the same thing over and over again. Like, I told you exactly what'll happen with the Shohei Ohtani thing. If he comes back to the Angels, I'd be extremely surprised. They'll be in it until the very end. They'll say they made competitive offers, and then they probably won't go in and do it. They'll go sign some bigger name free agents, go after a guy like Cody Bellinger, the big bat in the free agent market. That's fine. We'll probably talk about him down the road at some point, but I'm just saying, you're not winning the AL West anytime soon, especially with the roster that you're putting out there. And especially if you go and sign Shohei Ohtani for $50+ million. I'm going to continue to preach that. Just not the right move for them right now. So, Nate, you got any final thoughts before we let everybody go? Day 2 of the winter meetings.
This offseason's been so fun. I'm just super, super curious on how in the Angels actually are, because like I've talked about for the last couple of days, these reporters are really, really pissing me off on all the speculation and, oh, we think this and we think that, and absolutely no concrete evidence to support any of their claims. I'm just really curious to see how involved they are in this. And then the biggest thing to me is, what is plan B? Is plan B a panic move, or is plan B like,
well, plan B is 100% a panic move. I just said it. It'll be panic.
We'll see. Are they planned? Do they have a plan B, or is it, ooh, we thought we were getting Ohtani, we're not getting him. Okay, just throw a bunch of money at Blake Snell, that will fix the problem. Or just throw a bunch of money at Cody Bellinger, and that will fix the problem. Because again, what are the Angels going to give up for Juan Soto? If the Angels don't have enough for Dylan Cease and they don't have enough for Corbin Burns, do we think that they're really going to have enough for Juan Soto? Be honest.
You could hypothetically put a package together for Juan Soto, and that could be
Chase Silseth, Reed Detmers, one of those two.
That could be the start. That could be the start of your rebuild. Hypothetically, I don't think it's going to happen, but I'm just
so you're going to start your rebuild with a Scott Boras client that has said, I don't care who trades for me, I am going to free agency. And you are literally going to put yourself in the exact same situation as you've been in for the last 3 years of, you know what? We have one of the best players on the planet. We don't want to trade him because he helps our value of a franchise, but we still only have 56 wins at the trade deadline. But we think if everything goes perfectly, I know it was probably closer to about 60, but I'm being dramatic. We think if we keep this guy and we trade for this guy who's not any good, we will go on this magical run and win about 35 in a row and somehow sneak into the playoffs.
Yep. Yeah.
And then when that doesn't happen and he becomes a free agent and you get a second round pick for him and he goes signs a mega deal with the New York Yankees, you're going to look like geniuses for trading Zach Neto and Chase Silseth or Reed Detmers for Juan Soto. Is that correct?
Yeah, that sounds about right, actually. If it realistically, did a load of research here for us. Angels had 45. They were 45 and 46 at the trade deadline. 60 wins.
I said 50.
Yeah, well, the Dodgers were 51 and 38. So, if they were 51 and 38 at the deadline, we would be talking differently, I think, right now about some things. So, I don't have anything else for you guys. With all that being said, thank you so much for watching and listening here at Talking Halos. Go ahead and subscribe wherever you are watching or listening. Thanks, 1,000 subscribers. Really appreciate that on YouTube. Tell your friend about us. Follow us on social media, all of our social media outlets, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. You can follow myself on X at Jared_Tim's, Nate at NateGreen34. Guys, thank you so much for listening. Have a great rest of your day.